51. That's how many types of translation we've identified in one of our blog articles. And they're just the fairly common ones you're likely to come across. Now, 9 of those 51 are rather special. That's because they involve way more than just a good translation. For most of them, the translation is just a starting point. In this video, I'm going to quickly run through those 9 special types of translation and tell you why they're so different and what you need to know about them. Keep watching.
Our first type is software localization. This is the process of adapting software for another language or culture. Now, the goal in these projects isn't just to make the program or product available in other languages. It's also to ensure the user experience in those languages is as natural and therefore effective as possible. Projects normally involve 3 separate processes. Firstly, translating the user interface, messages and documentation. Secondly, a customization process to ensure the software matches the expectations, conventions and norms of the target cultures. For example, time, date and currency formats might need to be changed, but more significant changes might involve adapting symbols, graphics, colours and even concepts and ideas. And finally, there'll be a thorough testing process before the software is released. Now, you should always engage a translation company that specialises in software localisation. They'll have the systems, tools, personnel and know-how needed to produce a high-quality outcome. Our second type is game localisation. That's the adapting of digital games for other languages and cultures. Again, it isn't just a matter of making the game available in another language, but also ensuring the gaming experience in that language is engaging and fun. Projects generally involve 4 steps. The first step involves translating the game text and audio and recording the audio in the foreign language. Second is an adaptation process to identify and amend anything that would clash with cultural customs, sensibilities or expectations. What does this mean? Well, anything that might make a user feel uncomfortable or less engaged, and so detract from their experience and therefore the success of the game in that market. The third step is to integrate the translations and adaptations into the game, and the final step is a thorough testing process before release. Game localization is a very specialised type of translation, and it's best left to those with specific expertise and experience in this area. Multimedia refers to any material that combines visual, audio or interactive elements, and multimedia localization is adapting these materials for other languages. So we're referring to videos and movies, of course, but also to online presentations, e-learning courses, etc. Now, anything a user can see or hear may need localizing, so the audio will need to be translated and recorded or subtitled. And any text appearing on screen or in images or animations needs to be translated and those elements updated. Again, it's wise to review the cultural appropriateness of the materials and make any adaptations necessary. Multimedia localization projects vary hugely, so it's essential to make sure your translation providers have the specific expertise your materials demand. Our fourth special type of translation is website localization. That's the translation and adapting of relevant content on a website to another language and culture. Clients should always start by reviewing their existing site content to identify what's relevant and what isn't for their other language versions. This content is then translated. Now, as well as the web page text, there may also be linked documents, videos, or text and graphics to translate. And bear in mind that any technical or legal content may require specialist translators. Next, there should be an adaptation process. And again, simple changes might be to time and date formats. But also, images and even site design and style may have to be changed if these wouldn't have the desired impact in the target culture. And finally, the new language versions will need to be thoroughly reviewed and tested before going live. So you'll need a translation provider who can handle the translation requirements, provide your webmaster with the file types they need, and work with you on any required adaptations. Next, we have the translation and recording of scripts in other languages. In other words, creating a new language version of a video or audio through a voiceover or dubbing. These projects involve at least 3 steps. First is a standard translation of the script. The second step is to then edit that translation to match the needs of the recording. Now this is needed firstly to make sure each segment of the news script can be read in the time available for it on the video or audio. In practice, this means the translated script often has to be shortened. And secondly, it's needed because the translation may have to synchronize with specific audio elements or actions, animations or text on screen. The final step is the recording by the voice artist. Their task is to produce a high-quality read, matching the style, tone and richness of the original. Most challenging is lip syncing. This is where the new audio needs to synchronize with the original speaker's lip movements, gestures and actions. This requires an exceptionally skilled voice talent, and it takes considerable time rehearsing and also in fine-tuning the foreign language script. It's essential to use experienced professionals every step of the way in any voiceover or dubbing project. That's firstly to ensure your scripts are first rate, and secondly that the foreign language voicing is of high professional standard. Our sixth special type of translation is subtitling. That's the creation of foreign language captions for subtitles or surtitles. The goal here is to create captions that the viewer can comfortably read in the time available and still be able to follow the video or movie they're watching. In practice, this means the captions will frequently need to be much briefer than what is actually said on screen. So the translator will need to trim the translation back using simple language, short words and a very succinct style. They often need to spend considerable time mulling over and reworking their subtitles to get them just right. Subtitling is a difficult and specialised skill, so make sure you only use translators who specialise in this type of translation. Audio translations are where you want to know what a video or recording says, so we're not producing a new recording here, just documenting what an existing one says. There are two main challenges with audio translations. Firstly, it's not always possible to pick up every word that's said. That's because audio quality and volume and speech clarity and speed can all vary enormously. Secondly, it's difficult to listen to an audio and translate it directly into another language. It's easy to miss some content or meaning doing this. So, best practice is to first transcribe the audio, which means type up what's said in the language it's spoken in, and then translate that transcription. In other words, a two-step process. However, if you don't need absolute accuracy, there are faster and cheaper options. For these projects, you need a translation provider practiced at doing audio translations and able to tailor their methodology to suit your needs. So, translation conveys the message or meaning of a text into another language, but sometimes that message or meaning won't have the desired effect in the target culture, and this is where transcreation comes in. Transcreation creates a new message to get the response we want, while keeping the style and tone of the original. Think of it as creative translation, which is where the word comes from, combining translation and creation. It's used for key advertising and marketing messaging, so it requires copywriting skills, cultural awareness, and an excellent knowledge of the target market. Now, some translation companies do have suitably skilled personnel and offer transcreation services. But often it's done in the target country by specialist copywriters or an advertising or marketing agency. Our final special type of translation is multilingual desktop publishing. These projects involve three steps: translation, typesetting, and output. They require specific expertise and resources like software and fonts, know-how, and an appreciation of display conventions and design aesthetics in the languages we're working in. There are many pitfalls and common mistakes in multilingual desktop publishing, so check out our other resources on the subject. Multilingual typesetting and DTP is a specialist field, so make sure your translation company has the required expertise and experience. So there you have it, the 9 types of translation needing very specialised expertise. Intrigued about the rest of the 51 types of translation? Then head over to our blog article where we run through the complete list. And don't miss our other video covering 13 common types of translation categorised by subject matter or technical field.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.